Hi, boys and girls. This week we have started a unit in writing all about realistic fiction. And today I have a realistic fiction book that I would like to share with you. Now, this book is written by Judith Viorst, and this book is called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. I'm going to read you the blurb on the back to help you make your prediction. Alexander wakes up with gum in his hair. His best friend is mean to him. He has to eat lima beans for dinner. And there's kissing on TV. For Alexander, it's a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Now, the author of this story, she wrote this book about a boy named Alexander and a really bad day that he had. Sometimes we have bad days. This is a story that could really happen, but it's not a true story. It's not nonfiction. So this is a realistic fiction book. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Aubrey and Elliot got seats by the window too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said if I don't get a seat near the window, I'm going to be car sick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. At school, Mrs. Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend, and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend, and that I was only his third best friend. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream part falls off the cone and lands in Australia. He's having a pretty bad day. There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with his almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of Jelly Roll that had a little coconut sprinkles on top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. That's what it was, because after school, my mom took us all to the dentist. Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said, I'm going to Australia. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot. And while we were waiting for my mom to go get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy. And then when I started crying because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby. And while I was pushing Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and yelled at me for being muddy and fighting. I'm having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I told everybody. No one even answered. So then we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes. But then the man said, "We're all sold out. They made me buy plain old white ones. But they can't make me wear them." When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I could play with his copy machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be, except for my elbow. He also said don't fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate lima beans. There was kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. My bath was too hot, and I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that. Even in Australia. Okay, so this is a realistic fiction book. We all have bad days like Alexander. And just like him, when we go to bed, the next day could be or will be even better. So even though this isn't a true story, this is made up, it's realistic fiction because it could happen. What was your favorite part of this story?